Thank you very much for that, Craig. I'm looking at the 2020 trends that are going to define the rest of this decade. It's a really big topic, and I'm going to have to skate over a whole bunch of things which I'd like to deal with a little bit deeper. We're going to see technology accelerating the business cycle. You haven't seen anything yet. Stuff that we're taking 2 hours, 3 hours to do in business today is going to be done almost instantaneously by machines. And a good example of the accelerating economy is China. What they're trying to do in China is shrink this in to 10 years, what Japan did in 40 years. The Chinese government are spending a phenomenal amount of money building these creative cities so that they can be at the forefront of this. And it's something here in Australia that we have to keep in mind too. Now, the reason why the Chinese are doing that is because they're getting old. One economist said that they're going to get old before they get rich. How we use those baby boomers who are retiring now and how we use that older workforce is one of the ways in technology of doing more with less money as well, because that's one of the effects of the global financial crisis. Right now, we're in this plateau of productivity in a whole bunch of technologies that have come together. So things like robotics. Now, robotics have been around for decades. I mean, when you think back 40s and 50s, the idea of robots were human-shaped robots, like they're lost in space, you know, the Danger Will Robinson type thing. In reality, they turn out to be little boxes like this. Now, one of the other parts with this is that they talk to each other. And this is a jet engine, the GEnx jet engine that's fitted to the Dreamliners that have just been grounded. This guy talks on social media. And you can imagine what he's saying on Twitter when the batteries catch fire. Hey, I'm on fire, LOL. You go into a hotel and you take out of the minibar all of the stuff there and put in your own cheap stuff. You're in for a nasty surprise at a lot of the better hotels now, because they're tracking this stuff as it goes out in real time. So as soon as you take out that expensive bottle of wine or overpriced bottle of beer, it tells the front of house that you've added that to your bill. So you're in for that surprise when you get there. It also tells housekeeping that you've taken that out and it needs to be replaced. In the future, they might set up a robot to do that for them. And then at the back of house, they're ordering new stuff in. And that's changing. That's a really good example of how that cycle has been compressed. That's something that 2 or 3 decades ago took a day or two to get processed. Today, it takes a couple of hours to get processed. In the very near future, by the end of this decade, in pretty well every hotel, it'll happen instantaneously. It's also about much more personal things. This is Sergey Brin, and he's one of the founders of Google. Sitting on the New York subway just before Christmas, somebody popped a photo of him. And he's wearing a pair of Google glasses. And if you've seen those pictures of jet fighter pilots who have got the displays coming up in the front of their cockpits there, this is a very similar thing. In the business environment, you think about it, you can be going in to a business meeting, you meet somebody for the first time, the facial recognition on those glasses is picking up that person's profile, putting up their LinkedIn profile, their CV, on your screen as you're talking to them. One of the big defining factors of this decade is how we deal with this information, how well companies, how well individuals take this and use it. The big data revolution. I predict that in 2020, the businesses that are going to be successful are the ones who have been able to deal with this information that's been pouring into their databases, pouring into their smartphones, information about their markets, information about their customers, the social media side of it. The thing with this is that we've got in existing businesses these great big structures with all of these steps, all of these levels, all of these layers. And one of the things that we have to do is reduce these layers, because if you've got to go 18 layers up there and wait for the executive vice president to sign off on something, it's too late. What's happened is that somebody in Silicon Valley, somebody in Bangalore, somebody in Parramatta has come up with the idea to replace what you're sitting back waiting for. And we're seeing that they sat back, they thought that everything was going to go away, they thought it was business as usual, and they ended up finding themselves blindsided by the changes that are happening. That plateau of acceptance came in and they've been blown away. So for a lot of businesses, this is the big challenge for 2020, is to get lean, get quick, and get responsive to this, doing more with a lot less investment and moving to respond to those market changes.